Well, kind of an action step that I would suggest that everybody watching this would do is make a list. I did this when I started my first DJ company. We did about 4,000 weddings a year before we sold it. I made a list of all of the places in Tulsa that I thought of, man, if they could refer me weddings and corporate events and I can refer them, I can have enough win-win relationships that I'm perpetually booked out. But I think we can all just start by taking out a sheet of paper and writing down 10 win-win relationships that could absolutely be a game changer for us, and then pursuing those things. Now, you had to call these people, right? I mean, they didn't call you.
Actually, well, yeah. Well, with Thermador, since I was like using their kitchen, like we both we had an agreement with that. And then Metro, we actually asked them to use their kitchen.
You called them. Boop, 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 boop.
Yeah.
Okay. You didn't wait for your phone to ring though. You called them.
You have to take action. I mean, you can't just wait for someone to do something for you.
What?
A part of being an entrepreneur is doing something. That's what being an entrepreneur is.
Yeah.
Is doing something.
I don't think that this is normal thought though. You're saying you have to get out there, and you've probably been rejected though before, right? I mean, you're probably someone who said, I'm not going to let you use my kitchen. You know what I mean, right? I mean, you've had that, right? How do you process rejection? What do you do? I
mean, that's part of the whole journey of being an entrepreneur. Okay. I just grow from the rejection. It's like learning from your mistakes. I mean, you're gonna learn from it. So I mean, it's really, you still gain something from losing, if that makes sense.
So, yeah, again, a little Napoleon Hill quotable. He says that every failure has in it a seed of an equivalent benefit. The whole idea is if you fail, you learn something from it. I feel like you're 41 and not 14, and I feel like somebody's lied to me on these notes here. I feel like that's what's going on here. Now, next thing I want to ask you. Napoleon Hill, the author of Think and Grow Rich, which is the #1 self-help book of all time, by the way. I named my son after the author. It's Aubrey Napoleon Hill Clark. He says this: no individual may have great power without availing himself of the mastermind. He goes on to say the mastermind is the coordination of knowledge and effort and a spirit of harmony between two or more people for the attainment of a definite purpose. I know partnerships have really helped you, and we touched on it just briefly, but you partnered with OSU Tulsa for your first cooking show on television. Can you tell me how that partnership came about?
Well, for the cooking show, the premise of it was basically to get me to know more about cooking. And so what I did was I would go around town and learn something from seasoned chefs that owned restaurants, and then in turn I would make a meal for them at the end of the show, and they would decide whether
So your show was the concept was celebrity chefs are teaching you on camera?
Yes.
Did you have to call these celebrity chefs?
Yes. I mean,
Were there some that said, I will not be on camera?
Well, yes, there were some that didn't want to cooperate, and there was also those. It was more majority of people who actually did think this was an amazing idea. So those overcame the people that didn't really want to do it.
And again, with the rejection thing, when you got rejected, did your mom say, "You got to get back on the phone," or was she saying, "Hey, we can make it through this"? Or what was it like going on at home? 'Cause I think a lot of people. I know there's people watching this right now who've had a big business idea. One young man I can think of right now, he wanted to get into the real estate business. I remember he told me, I'm going to be a realtor. I'm going to be a realtor. I don't know if he stayed up and watched one of those. I don't know if he stayed up too late and watched one of those infomercials, but he's like, I'm going to be a realtor. Well, then he goes out and buys the real estate book. He gets the license. He's trying to get some listings. And I remember this just like it was yesterday. This guy comes back from the mission field. I'm going to be a realtor. And then just some rejection. And I see him a couple months later. Hey, what's going on? Oh, I've decided I'm not going to be a realtor. Well, why? People are saying, no, it's too competitive. I mean, you had to get rejected at some point. What would you say to somebody like this realtor guy who's got rejected and kind of has his hopes down? What would you say?
Well, I mean, if you want to be a successful entrepreneur, you have to get past that. I mean, if you can't complain and whine and about not having what you want, because technically it's really just your fault. I mean, I know it might sound a little harsh,
It's true. I mean, the truth hurts. It's painful. It's just causing
but like you have to be able to get through that. It's part of the growing process of being an entrepreneur.
I feel like you're 41, and I feel like that there's just a lot. Like you're doing a lot of exfoliation, and that's how you're keeping your skin looking so youthful and that sort of thing. I'm not sure. Now you've partnered with Whole Foods. You've partnered with Sodexo. Let's do this. Whole Foods. How'd you get in Whole Foods? How'd you do that? Did they call you?
Actually, I believe I went to them.
Wait a minute. So you went to them for your first opportunity. You and your mom started with a camera, and you started filming, and then you put yourself out there. Then you got an opportunity because somebody called you and said, hey, do you want to be on TV? Then you, again, didn't wait for the phone to ring. You picked up the phone, you called, you make a bunch of phone calls, boom, you landed a kitchen that you could start filming your show in, right? You pick up the phone, you make a bunch of calls, you call a bunch of chefs, then you land a few chefs, now you have a show. Then you're picking up the phone, you dial and smile. You dial and smile, right? You're always smiling, right? You call, you get a hold of Whole Foods, then they feature, then now they sell your product in their store. It seems like you're going to have to keep exerting effort. Like you're going to have to keep making phone calls, right? It's not going to just come to you.
Yeah.